Thank you so very much, Zeke. That's right. There is so much action here. And the way the qualifiers are going to shape up is that we are going to continue to drop right into the rounds in the middle of the heats here as everything is playing out. Larson and Degen already positioning up. And mind you, keep in mind, this game is very much underway. Take a look at the zone here. It's half in, half out, right? We cut all the beginning of the fat, Taco. We're getting straight into the meat.
Yeah, and for Degen and Larson, it almost seems like they're playing bouncers, essentially, to some of these other teams that are trying to enter on the south edge of this zone. But Degen and Larson, expect that they've got to be good on their surge damage, considering that they're not opening up any of their walls. They're not looking to try and create any edits to look for any sort of peaks. Probably also not trying to risk eating a sniper shot in return. We all know how rapidly that can go downhill if you are tagged, and then a team will immediately just try to key at you if they see any sort of damage that's cracking those shields.
Yeah, 100%. Can they find a shield opener? Can he find an opportunity to get on in there? That's what professional players will do. They'll take advantage of an inch, turn it into a mile. For Mason and Pen, they're already on the move here. Grapple hooks being utilized. Reciprocal, though, playing with Crims. This is a new duo, okay. Expect Reciprocal to mix it up. He was one of the few that actually stood true to his duo for several seasons, but now something a little different right now. Ooh, big tag though there, Taco. Okay, he's gonna be happy with that damage.
Yeah, it doesn't even bother seeing if he can immediately follow it up. It just seems as though the focus, again, is just maintaining a steady trickle-in of surge damage, so you don't have to worry about being under the damage threshold should it apply. But move into a slightly different section of Rebel's Roost here. We've got Jay Vaya and Baloney boxed up. Decent resources. No white heals, at least, on Jay Vaya, but hard to say whether or not Baloney might be holding onto the medkits, as we so often see duos choosing to split whatever resources they might have available to them. But it's going to be a positional move instead for Vaya and Baloney. Still keeping in mind that they're bound to have some pressure coming up behind them. I think that's why they're trying to get the move on now with these grapple blades. They know moving towards this hill might give them a good orientation of where the rest of this lobby is starting to collapse into the zone at. But Cash and Elash, seems as though they found M-Pen. Might be looking to aggress, but it's hard to work from the bottom up.
I respect it. Look at the zone though, Taco. This is really, really looking bad if you're on this this western side, which is everyone in the lobby at the moment. No one has decided to say, oh yeah, let me get a little more comfortable. Let me use this grapple blade to get a little distance. Now everyone's comfortable sitting on top of one another inside of this lobby. As we start to scope out, you can see running lists of players, names a lot of names that I don't necessarily recognize. That's a good thing. This is their opportunities now. Tricks here trying to see what he can make happen. Meanwhile, he's got Dylan pushing up on his side though. Big tags coming in. This is a duo pushing with confidence right now. Let's see what Tricks can do. Defensive tag comes in, doesn't quite hit it. The second one is good, and another team shoots in, loses teammate. Pickett is down now. For Sams and Dylan, they already have 2 elims. They might be able to reap the rewards. A knocked body here, and oh, it all makes sense. They were well below the surge. It's gonna force their hand here. Oh, they left a body, getting greedy for the loot instead of going for the tags. That might be a fatal error here.
Right now for Sams, Dylan expending a little bit of that Fortnite fizz just to see if they can buy themselves some time, but they need, what, 2-3 good tags, and they're in business. But Sam's just barely any ammo to work with on that Striker AR.
Very fine.
And it's not looking much better on the Frenzy Auto either. Still 210 below. Sams and Dylan both know that they are essentially working against the surge clock here, because that gap is only growing. They're going to have to create their own opportunity if they want to find themselves sticking this one out and not falling victims to the surge tag damage. Now it's going to be Sams and Dylan trying to see if they can find another section of the map, another section of the lobby to potentially try and find a little bit more of those tags in. But Dylan already knocked, likely due to the fact that just struggling there for the longest time. Reciprocal, though, on the other end of that, he's not struggling in the slightest. Love it. Every time that sniper connects.
Yeah, even with the sniper change, it does not matter. You give it to pro player, he's gonna make it work. The muscle memory kicks in. The shots start to connect. They make it look easy. Crims is down, so greeting for the loot there did backfire, and it seems like Reciprocal didn't grab much of it, like at least as far as the ammunition is concerned, because he's in a pretty tight situation here, and he's given up some of his weapons, some of his arsenal just to go for heals here, so trying to give himself a condition to play for placement. That's what he's going to opt into. Meanwhile, sticks on hype here. Pretty solid alongside 411.
4 floppers, though, and 3 medkits. That's definitely a pretty good spot to be in as a solo with heals. But if anybody gets that elimination onto Reciprocal, they'll probably be happy with the loot that he might drop, depending on how those floppers actually work. But Mason and Pen just trying to do what they can to hold their current layer. Not necessarily full height just yet, but seems as though they are on that secondary height layer. Mason and Pen trying to do what they can to chop out the team on height. Vorteca and Sigma will be forced to drop momentarily, but it's not a full chop. It's more so Sigma looking to see if he can apply any sort of pressure, and Empen actually gonna have to pull back. Needs an opportunity to try and get some heals going. Medkit will buy in time for now. Swap off the medallions just so Empen can get some of that passive shield regen.
Yeah, you can see the regen kicking in here as they're on the rotate right now. Trusting and Mason to lead the rotate. Meanwhile, Victor, Blzerd trying to play their best as well. 3 eliminations here. Placement points are just around the corner if they can stay in. Respectable team in front of them. Called Genesis there and Remix. Have to pick and choose their battle very wisely here. They don't actually even need to force it right now, but they are seemingly pushing the boundaries here, trying to really squeeze the lemon here. Liquid and Dino Antics looking pretty good as well. He's on the move around the side edges here. Down another layer, so down to low ground they go.
But even with them being in this low ground, MDF, they're certainly not the only team that's being forced into the low ground. Ecto and Ian, they've definitely got a decent amount of builds, but nothing as far as shields is concerned. Only white heals available right now for Ecto. Doesn't really seem like he has an opportunity to pop it anytime soon either. But Liquid, big eliminations onto Doe and Salt Lover. Doesn't look like he was able to collect any sort of refresh though, so unfortunately for him, only 1 build and a dream to work through right now.
Yeah, and high ground clear as Dave, Vorteca, and crew. They're just going to chill up there while the low ground is going to be fighting for their lives right now, just outside the roost here. Let's see it. Prodigy, Dozier on the move right now. Another solo. So these are all solos. Liquid's going to pick up another elimination, though. This is on to 411 from Team WTJ. That's going to bring him on up to 6 Elans. He needs to pause down, though. Find a chance, but he doesn't have mats. As much as he wants to drink this big pot here, he just doesn't have room for it. Instead, he's going to get crushed from a huge shot from up above. And now we jump over to Mason. Mason and Pen, like I said, that team's so high up. They don't even have an angle down on what's happening here. Mason out of material now. Pen back against the wall here. They try to fight with everything they got. Mason gets himself behind a team, misses the first shot. And just like that, Victor turns and burns. That's going to bring him on up to 7 Elans there.
But Victor still took a massive shot from Mason. Bound to pose some issues here for him as he will find himself getting knocked. Now it's Whopper, it's Quangador. We're gonna drop to the low ground, see if they can find the last couple of players that are still left standing in this lobby. They don't have any white heals. They're just trying to run around the map as desperately as possible. But it's Blzerd with 4 medkits, make it 3. Sigma, only 2 medkits, but as long as Storm Sickness doesn't apply here for Blzerd, you have to imagine that he'd have the upper hand.
But there's other players in the mix here, and they might just have a decision or play at hand here. Oh, Kwanga, that's very nice, but medkit's still on Ian as well. I'm going to think it's going to come down to whether or not Kwanga can actually find elimination here. If he can find Blzerd or Ian, he might just have a chance, but Blzerd survives just a little bit longer, and it's going to be enough for him to go ahead and out-survive all of the opponents who tried to sit there and play for the heal off that win condition, slowly but surely going in his favor. Look at that. It just shows you, even if you have high ground, doesn't mean anything if you don't fight for it, Taco.
Definitely very reminiscent right now, though, of what we saw in EU earlier today, MDF, because these players are not messing around as far as holding on to those white heal resources are concerned. I mean, we saw Blzerd, 4 med kits is usually going to be enough, but the fact that he was even that close, Monster, it kind of tells you that there might need to be more pressure being applied from the teams that are on height, because if you leave these players to their own devices, you never know who's going to be sitting on a whole factory of sustain.
Yeah, NPen had the right idea. They were trying to fight for it. Unfortunately, didn't quite hit the shots, especially when we saw Mason jump down onto Victor and just miss. That clean miss was the problem. You can see from Victor's perspective, he didn't miss a single beat. He hits every shot that matters, and that's what put them at least in a position to try and take this all away. But when you're on high ground like that and you have all that runway, you have to use your ammunition. Otherwise, you can see there, players like Blzerd are going to walk away with it. So excellent game, excellent showcase here, but there is still more action, Zeke.